Hello gorgeous souls, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is the first video that you are ever watching of me here on my YouTube, then hello and welcome. My name's Louise, it's amazing to have you here, and I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. I'm so close to hitting a new goal on my YouTube channel, and I would love for you to be part of that process. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then please hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world. I would be so grateful, and yeah, let's make the goals happen. So today I wanted to talk to you about failing, because when we set goals, and I feel it's appropriate for this time of year, it is now February, so it's February the 3rd today, 2025, and usually we set goals at the beginning of a new year, and around about the end of January things start to sort of either settle or tank, or we've completely fallen off the wagon. So I thought now would be a great time to talk about failure. And there's also elements of goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year that I'm already failing at. So I thought, what better way to process it together than jump on here and make this week's video about how to deal with failure. Because ultimately, if we are going after something that we don't already have, and we're going after something that we want to achieve that we've not yet achieved, then often along the way there are going to be points where we fail. It's like part of the process. And if we're not failing forward, then it usually means that we're just staying still. We're not challenging ourselves in any way. We're not trying anything new. We're not trying anything different. Failure is part of the process. And before I started my journey with sort of personal development and setting goals and challenging myself and pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, I would avoid failure like the plague, because I couldn't deal with the emotions that came with feeling like a failure, because there'd been so many areas of my life where I felt like I'd failed that I didn't want to experience those feelings again. And so if you are at a point where you're feeling like you're failing, if you feel like a failure, then I know exactly how that feels. And I wanted to just share a few things. I've actually made notes for today's video. I wanted to share with you a few things that you can consider and think about, so that you can get yourself out of the vibe of feeling like a failure, and you can start to make progress again. You can start to move the needle in the direction that you want to go in, and you can start taking action again towards the things that you want to achieve and that are important to you. So first of all, there's the dog. First of all, let me share some of the things. So I get to the end of a month and I'll sort of reflect on what went well and what maybe didn't. So if you think about sort of the last 30 days for yourself, and you look at that and go, how's the month been if you review it? Is she going to bark the whole time? I think she wants to go outside. I think there's a squirrel in the garden. Let me go and let her out. I shall be back in a sec. There we go. She's outside. So, talking about failure, I'm going to share how I've failed already this year, because this is important to talk about. So, it's with this channel, with this YouTube channel. So I've got a goal that I want to build my YouTube channel. I don't fully understand why at this point, but I have like a real pull and a real calling to just create content for YouTube. And so that is just something that I have to do. It's just, I feel it. And some of you will know what I'm talking about. Others of you will think I'm crazy. But when I have a pull to do something, I just have to follow that pull and I have to do it. So I just know that I am meant to be creating this YouTube channel. And so at the beginning of the year, I set myself the goal of creating a vlog or a video every single week for YouTube. And in January for me, a few unexpected things happened. Really good things happened in January for me. And I've been distracted. And there's certain things that I've really smashed out the park. So going to the gym 3 times a week and training, getting back into my training, absolutely smashed that, which I'm really pleased about. I had a back injury last year. I couldn't train consistently last year, and the physio gave me the all clear in sort of November. So I thought, right, when January comes around, I'll train again. And I'm really enjoying training and getting back into that. So that's one of the goals that I set myself that I have big tick. Another goal of mine, I had a few other business goals, and there was also the intention and the goal to start to really focus on YouTube and to grow this channel. and to grow on this platform. And that meant that I'd set myself the goal of creating a vlog or a video every week. Not done it. I'm going to be honest, I failed already. I've not done it. I think I've done 3 videos. Is it 3? I've done 3 videos. So I should now have about 5 videos, and I've got 3. And I wanted to share this with you because when I reviewed the month and when I reflected on the month, there are certain things that, yes, I've achieved and I've ticked, and there are certain things that I haven't. And creating my YouTube vlog and my YouTube videos is one of the things that I failed at. And you might have got to the end of January, and you might be in a place where you've set yourself some goals. You had intentions for this year. It was going to be your best year ever, whatever your goals are. And you might start to feel like you're already failing. And if that is the case, and if that is you, then this video is for you, okay? We can fail together because failure is part of the process. And there are 3 things that I want to take you through for you to consider so that you don't let failure completely take over and wreck the rest of your month, the rest of your quarter, the rest of your year. Because I used to go round in sort of a self-sabotaging loop. And I know a lot of people can, where when they get all motivated and when they get all inspired, they take action. You know, this sort of endorphins are there, you are energetically feeling the vibes, you're excited, you're happy, life's going good, and you really get to work and you put that energy and that effort in, and things feel good and they feel easy. And then sometimes things can happen, or you get busy, or life takes a turn in a direction you weren't expecting. And then all of a sudden it becomes hard to do the actions that you said you were going to do. And then what I used to find is that when I would start to fall off the wagon, so the motivation would start to dip. So I'd be really excited, I'd set the goals, and I'd be doing all the things, and then I'd start to drop off and tail off. And I'd find it hard to hold all of the activity and actions that I knew I had to do in order to achieve the goal that I wanted to achieve. I used to make it mean something about me. And this is what used to have me going round and round in sort of a self-sabotaging cycle of never really getting anywhere and never achieving the things that I really wanted to achieve in life or business, because I would make it mean something about me. And then my mindset would completely take over, and I would think to myself, well, who was I kidding? When I said I was going to do whatever it is, here I am again, not doing the thing that I said I was going to do, and therefore failing. And so what is even the point? What's the point me even trying? And it was me going around in this cycle multiple times for a long time, where I started to realise that obviously, you know, mindset is very important. But it's the feelings that we feel. It's the stories that we tell ourselves. And ultimately, it's the feelings are driving the bus. You know, you've got to have a very strong mindset to really move through the emotions. And we are emotional beings. This is why most humans find it very hard to stick at anything, because the emotions and the subconscious mind completely take over, and we just revert back to default, which is what we know, even though it's not what we want. It's who we know ourselves to be. So, for example, if you've always been, I'll use late as an example. I'm never late. But if we use late as an example, if you are always late for things, and I'm guilty of being late for things, got a creative mind, I cannot judge time, and I can be late, right? I make no apology for it. But if you decide that you want to now be early for things, and you then take the steps to rectify, right, well, I'm going to get organised earlier, I'm going to leave earlier, whatever the steps are that you are going to do to make that happen. When it happens that you are late for something, not only are you going to give yourself all the mind chatter of who was I kidding, I'm just always late, this is just who I am, you're going to have people around you saying to you and reminding you of who you were. So it's not just you that you've got to have this internal mindset chatter and battle with when it comes to stepping out and doing something different or trying to change something that you want to change. Everyone around you who knows you for this person who doesn't do these things like be on time or be early, they will either take the piss out of you for being early, because you're never early, and remind you that you're always late. And then when you are late for things, they'll be like, oh yeah, here we are, because you are always late. That's just who you are. So it can be hard to break out of certain cycles and certain ways of being and certain ways of thinking and feeling, not only in your own sort of mind, but also from your environment and people around you. And this is why it can be so hard to stick to new goals, and why it's so hard to stick to just new ways, new habits. It's not easy. It is challenging. It is difficult. And I like to try and make it as easy as possible for myself, because I don't like things to be like overly hard. I just think, why would we make it hard when it doesn't have to be as hard? But what I will say is, if you do want to progress and you do want to achieve the things that are important to you this year, then you're going to have to get comfortable with failure. And when you do fail, because you will, these are the things that I'm going to take you through today. These are the things that I want you to think about when you mess it up and when you fail. Because like I said, I would get to this point now where I've started to sort of fall off the wagon a little bit. I'm not as, the motivation's dipped. I'm not, the feelings aren't there anymore for the excitement or the enthusiasm, and that has just dwindled. And then the mindset chatter would come up. And one of my limiting beliefs used to be that I am a failure. So of course I failed because I am a failure. And the reason I had that limiting belief about myself is because of certain things that had happened in my life where I had failed at something, and I had a really strong emotional tie to that experience. And I made it mean something about me. The story that I told was I'd failed, so therefore I was a failure. And that's just not the truth at all. You know, our mind can really derail us so much. So we have to be so careful with what we think and what we say to ourselves as well. So when you get to a point where you start to mess up or you fail at something, this is the number one thing that I want you to consider. And you can write this down if you want. If you want to press pause, go and get a pen and paper. It's very, very simple, or you can come back to it, whatever. But number one is, what do you make it mean about you when you fail at something? So rather than it be you failed at whatever it might be, at being on time, we'll use that example. I failed at being on time, so I wasn't on time this time. Rather than you making it mean something about that, which is outside of you, what do you actually say to yourself? Because this is where I would beat myself up, like over the fact that I was late or I'd missed the thing. Or for example, like I haven't done the YouTube video, so that means that obviously, who was I kidding? Why would I even bother creating a YouTube channel? Why bother doing videos like now, like this video? Because, well, what if I don't do it again in the future and I miss another week? Like, what is the point? And all of this would come up for me of, well, that's just who I am, which is all crap, because we can decide who we are. So decide or ask yourself, what are you making it mean about you when you fail? What do you say to yourself in terms of the mean shit that you say to yourself when you mess up? What stories do you tell yourself? Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or says. The most important thing is, what do you think and what do you believe and what stories do you tell about you when you mess up? This is one of the most important things, because when I checked in with this, I thought, well, there's no wonder that my actions following me failing at something mean me going like tanking it and really going down and getting worse and just completely stopping, like taking my hands off the wheel. Because it's like, oh, I just can't do it, so I'll just take my hands off. Because if I don't do it, I can't fail. And again, this is how we stop ourselves from really going after things that we want, is because, well, if I don't do it, I can't fail. So therefore we avoid the failure because we're not doing the thing. So it doesn't matter. What's the point? I'll just leave it. I won't do it. Because then I won't feel hurt and I won't feel all of these feelings of failure if I don't do the thing. But then ultimately you stay stagnant and you stay exactly where you are, which is not what you actually want. So this work is really important. What are you making it mean about you, and also what are the stories that you're telling? That's number one. Then number two, how do you respond to failure? So you'll have a certain mindset that pops up and certain mindset chatter that comes up. And then you'll have the stories that you're telling about yourself. And then you'll find, and I want you to notice what your actions are after all that's come up. So how do you respond to it? There's two ways to respond to it. We either learn, so we either have a growth mindset where we actually look at, well, is this ultimately true? Am I a failure? Am I this? Am I all of this? Is this mindset serving me? Is it helping me? No. Okay, well, I have to do something about that if I'm going to change or I'm going to make shit happen. You have to be the one to change it. That's number one. How can I learn from this? And looking at actually your actions or your habits surrounding what it is that you want to achieve. How can I learn from that? Because we can only learn when we've actually done something. Like when we've really had a go at something, when we've experienced something, we can actually look at it and learn from it. Or we can go into self-sabotage. So do you find that you lean into the growth mindset of, okay, so I messed up, I failed, what can I learn from this? Or do you go into the, I've failed, I'm a failure, I've messed up again, who was I kidding? And you go into self-sabotage and you think, well, what's the point? You'll go into one of two, or you might dance between them. But notice how you respond, and it'll be like a default reaction. 95% of what we do is done subconsciously. So we've got the conscious part of the mind, which makes decisions now in the moment. But then ultimately, we've got the subconscious part of the brain and the mind that just controls things on autopilot. Like we don't even have to think about it, we just do it. And when it comes to changing something about yourself, it's the conscious mind that has to make the decision, but it's the subconscious mind that's actually leading the show. Because we'll slip into the subconscious a lot of the time. And the subconscious is who you believe yourself to be, what you believe you're capable of. And it's all based on past experiences or things that you've done before, because that's all it's got to go on. So unless you take some time to reflect and actually go, right, I've messed up. How have I messed up? What have I done? What can I learn from this? How could I get better? What can I do better next time? How can I make sure that this doesn't happen again? It might happen again and that's fine. But if you're willing to go at it with a growth mindset, rather than the I'm useless and I can't do this, and then going into what's the point and backing off from what you want to do. It's like encourage yourself to lean into that and do the mindset work to really check in what's going on and what feelings come up for you as well. Because ultimately, for me, to change this about myself, we can't change the subconscious mind when things are going really well, which is such a pain, because it'd be so nice to be able to change how we think and feel when life's great and everything's going well. But it's in the moments when we're challenged the most. It's in the moments when things get difficult. It's in the moments when we're failing, and it's in the moments that we're feeling all these feelings that we don't want to feel. That's the moment of transformation, because that's the moment you can consciously choose a new way. But the feelings can become too much that we then want to avoid how we're feeling. So we back off, or we revert back to default, or we do something that doesn't actually serve us. So for example, if your goal for January was to get healthier and fitter, it might be to lose weight, it might be go to the gym, tone up, whatever your goals are in terms of health and fitness. If you start to fail at that and you start to dread going to the gym and you don't want to go, and you start eating the crappy food again, maybe you're drinking alcohol again, and you have that little bit, and then you go, well, who was I kidding? I've been here a million times before. I can't do this. And then you just don't go to the gym anymore and you just sack it off. So you've got that gym membership you're paying for and you just don't go anymore, because the story that you're telling yourself is, I'm just not someone who can do it. I've tried this a million times and it didn't work. I'm just a failure. I'm rubbish. I'm useless, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll eat more crappy food because you feel crap, because you feel like a failure. So you may as well eat the food, because it really doesn't matter. And if I'm calling you out here, that's amazing, because, you're like most people, because it's hard. Humans, we want to avoid the uncomfortable emotions like the plague, because they don't feel good. And I used to be like this because I didn't know, and I wasn't taught how to navigate my emotions when they came up. I didn't know what to do with them. And so I'd either avoid them and try not to feel them, or when I'd feel them, I'd do something to try and make them go away, rather than just sit in them or understand them or decide to make changes in those moments as well, or just allow them to flow. You know, if you feel like shit, you feel like shit. If you feel sad, you feel sad. If you feel angry, you feel angry. Like, learning how to process those really helped me as well. So notice how you respond when you fail at something. Do you have a growth mindset and say to yourself, what can I learn? And how can I do things differently moving forward? Which, like for me, for example, with this YouTube channel, it is, okay, so I haven't vlogged for the last week or two. So all I have to do now is just pick up my phone and record a video and post it to my YouTube channel in order to reinstate this as well. It doesn't mean anything about me. It just means I haven't made a video for 2 weeks. That's it. That's all it means. And so if I reflect back on sort of the last few weeks and I look at what has been going on for me in my life, I can see why I haven't created vlogs or videos. I can see where I've not managed my time to factor this in over the last few weeks. So it's not something, I'm not making it mean anything about me. It's just fact of what it is. So for me to achieve the goal that I want with this channel and to create the vlogs or the videos that I want to do, all I've got to do is create the vlogs and videos. So then that is scheduling the time in and yada, 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 like putting the action steps in and fulfilling and doing the work, reflecting in 4 weeks' time, seeing how I got on. So it's like separating how I could make it mean something about me not doing it, to actually on a practical level. So I haven't done it. Okay, then let's scratch a line and let's go again. So this is where we go into point 3. So point 3 is, so you've messed up. Now what? Now what? Do you want to drag this out for the next few days, few weeks, few months, few years? Because this is where we go as humans. It's like, if I've messed this up, I'm going to mess this up because I've messed this up so many times before, and here I am again, and now I'm really annoyed with myself because who was I kidding? I failed again. So it's like I may as well put bells and whistles on the failure and own it and just completely go to town with it. And that's not what you want. That's not what we want. So like I could, for example, with this YouTube vlog, say, well, what's the point? I've missed a couple of weeks. I've not posted videos for a few weeks. So why don't I just sack it off? I'm not meant to do a YouTube channel. I'm not meant to vlog. I'm not meant to make videos. Clearly I'm not good enough, or I can't do it, or I'm not putting the time in, or whatever. I'd make it mean anything. And then I could just not do it. If your goal is you've set health and fitness goals, you've sort of tanked going to the gym, you're finding it hard to go, you're eating shit foods, it's like, do you carry on going down that route? Or do you draw a line and say, okay, hands up. Hold your hands up. I've messed up. It's okay that you've messed up. We're not making it mean anything about who you are, because you get to decide who you are. We're going to draw a line and say, okay, now what? So what was the goal? And we go back to what the goal was, which in my world is, you know, how do you want to feel? What is it about that in terms of if it was a health and fitness goal, like how do you want to feel? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole on this video. But when you get clear on that, the action steps become something that obviously serve you in the long term, and you change the way that you see that. So like for me with this vlog, it's not just a video or a vlog. For me, I see this as I've got so much that I want to share, and so much that I want to, so much value, and so many lessons that I've learned, and so many things that have helped me in my own sort of life and also in my business as well, that I want to bring these things to my YouTube channel. I want to share this with people in the hope that it does help people. And me not doing that is a disservice, not only to myself, but also to other people, because me keeping all my ideas in my head and me not talking about the things that I want to talk about is a disservice to everyone. So there we go. So this is why, obviously, I wanted to talk about this today, because I understand how failure feels. I know how I used to respond to it. I know how I used to think about it. And it used to make me feel like crap. And if you are in that place where you're going round and round in circles, then please do this. Do this. Do these 3 things. So number 1, what do you make it mean about you, and what stories are you telling? Because ultimately you get to decide who you are. Number 2, how do you respond when you fail? So do you learn and go, okay, do you reflect and look at things and go, okay, then, so I messed up here, I did this wrong, I could have done this better, blah, 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 I'm going to do this instead. Or do you go down the whole self-sabotage route and just go, okay, it don't matter. And then off you go. And then months down the line or whenever, you finally then come back round to getting sick of your own shit and go, right, I'm going to try again now. We don't want to leave it that long. This is why it can take months, years. This is why it can take a long, long time, or people never do it because of that. And then number 3, see, you messed up. Now what? So I've messed up. Now what? And then embarking on those action steps again, and just like getting in the right mindset again, and going again and going again and going again. This is the thing with failure. You're going to fail. You are going to fail at some things, at lots of things. And if you do these 3 things, it means that you will get better, you will improve, and over time, you will achieve the things that you want to achieve. And you'll be able to really use failure as something that is, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think what the word is that I'm looking for. I can't think of what the word is, but I think you know what I'm talking about. You know, failure it's part of the process. So rather than avoiding it and worrying about what other people are going to think if you mess up or fail, it's actually you embracing it as part of the process and using it as a tool. So failure can be a tool to learn and to get better. Because if you're not failing, it means that you're not doing anything, or you are stagnant and you're stuck. And I know that if you're watching this video, you want to make progress, you want to make changes, you want to set some goals, you want to have a good year, you want to have your best year. And so getting comfortable with, or still being uncomfortable with failure, but actually wrapping your head around actually what failure is and how it can be beneficial for you as part of the process of achieving what it is that you want to achieve, then it is a game changer. So that is what I wanted to share today about failure. So if you're a failure like me, woohoo, so we messed up, here we are, let's go again, let's do the things. But this is how we have to be. If you want to achieve things that are important to you, then this is the mindset. So I hope this has helped. If it has, then please let me know in the comments, or tick the like box. I'm still getting used to this YouTube thing, so just let me know in the comments if and what your takeaways were from this video. Implement the steps, you know, write them down, do this work. And if you want to follow me on my other platforms, you're more than welcome to. I am over on Instagram. I'm also over on Facebook as well, but I am, like I said, going to be creating more videos here on YouTube. So if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I'd be so grateful, because like I said, I've got big goals for this channel. There's a lot of things that I want to share when it comes to sort of life coaching, when it comes to confidence, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to manifestation. There's a lot I want to talk about and a lot I want to share. So I will be here next week with another video for you. And if you've got any suggestions about content that you would love me to create, if you've got any questions about anything, then please don't hesitate to message me. So you can email me. I've got an email address of hello@louiseblood.co.uk. You can email me on there, or you can contact me on the DMs over on social media, or you can just drop things in the comments if you want to. And if I feel it's appropriate, I will create content on it, because I do love to create content and value that, you know, people really want. I'm always looking and listening and getting a feel on social media, and you know, when I'm in conversations with clients or with people and they're asking questions, and like for my own sort of journey of where I am and what I'm going through, that is how I base my content. So it's very fluid. So any suggestions, I welcome with open arms. So on that point, I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your day. But thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you love this video, and I will see and speak to you on our next video next week. Bye.